policies that we are pushing and putting on Americans could definitely cause a lot of us to suffer, especially some of our older population. Today's video is going to be good. We're going to talk about ways that the economy and maybe the look of a recession is even more intensifying. Some say we're in a recession, some say we're not, but 98% of all major bankers and lead financiers are saying that we are going in the wrong direction. The video starts right now.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. We are so glad that you are here. We're enjoying a beautiful morning here on the farm. We moved the sheep this morning. It's been an intense last few days as we were trying to move around and getting ready for a pretty good frost coming tonight here in South Mississippi. So it's been pretty eventful on the farm. If you're new to our channel, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, and hopefully you'll enjoy our content today. So today's video is going to be about the recession and how we see that it is actually getting worse, based on statements by really important people when it comes to banking and finance, a lot of banking CEOs. And the sad thing is, it's going to affect you and also your retirement and how you look at money, especially over the next year or two. So let's jump right into it. 98% of all big bank CEOs are increasingly saying that the economy is going to get worse. Now, we have changed the definition as a whole, and I'm not saying we, I'm saying the administration that is in power has changed the definition of a recession. Most people have already thought that we are in a recession and that we see what the market is doing. It is going downward, and it's been correcting. We're seeing it down sometimes 20 to 25% depending on which index you're looking at. But now you're starting to see, even for the people who believed we were in recession to the people who said we're not in recession, but maybe leaning that way now, 98% of all bank CEOs believe this. Bank of America warns that the U.S. could see 175,000 jobs lost per month. Breitbart News came out and said that 32% of people, because of the inflation prices, have been late on just about every one of their bills per month. And JP Morgan's CEO has now came out and said that 6 to 9 months we will see major volatility and a lot of correction in the market to where there will be a lot more pessimism than optimism. This was also the same guy that said we thought we were going through a financial hurricane. It may be a lot worse than what we thought. And the crazy thing is, we've seen the administration push away from that, but now we see Treasury Secretary Yellen coming out and saying we're now seeing the inflation issues is going to make a spillover of a global recession. And it will shock all markets, not just the US, but across the globe, which is another reason why sometimes having a global market could be more problems than it actually can help. If we learn to be a stronger America, I believe we could help more countries. But I do believe, because we're such a globalist society now, that when one economy struggles, all the rest will coincide. Not that we always listen to all these people, but even the CBO has come out and said the way that our economy is trending, there is no sustainability. There has to be a change, either with the Fed working with the government working with the Fed, and ultimately coming to a better conclusion of getting spending down, getting inflation under control. But both of those together will not be sustainable. Sustain what we're doing to ourselves as an implosion. IMF Director Kristalina Georgieva. Now, I know I butchered that name because I'm from Mississippi and I can't talk right. But ultimately, she says that we have seen across the world, when we have global issues, US tends to be the spotlight, the one who could help us work through it. The US has been absent. They've been absent. Now, that's not a good sign to hear from a global money system when we're supposed to be the strength. Now, this is how it affects us. Even down to the Halloween candy that you're supposed to be buying next week. Halloween candy is up 13%. Your average grocery is up 15 to 25% across the board. Now, that means some things you may buy may be only up 5%. Some things you may buy may be up 50%. But you're seeing a price increase on your goods. So when people say out there, naysayers, they say, well, we've not seen shortages. Well, if you don't see shortages, you're going to see massive inflation hikes or massive prices increase through your grocer. So one or the other, you're still getting a sucky deal. But now, since we're seeing the price of goods go up, another issue we're seeing is the stock market struggling. So for all the older individuals, and we've mentioned this before, that's been investing in the market for retirement, now we're seeing they're not going to have any growth to keep their monthly income coming into them without depleting what they've already put in. I talked to a gentleman the other day. He said that he had lost over hundreds of thousands of dollars based on what the market has seen because he listened to a broker that said, hold on, stay in there. This gentleman was retirement age. So now because he did not maybe put it in treasury, maybe didn't put it in commodities, maybe didn't put it in a money market or a CD for the time being, because when interest rates go up, CDs, treasury bonds tend to do a little bit better. They're flat, but they're not, you're not going to make 12 or 15%, but you can make a steady 2 to 3 or 4%, or your money may be more safe. But because he didn't do those things, he has seen a significant loss. Guess what he was doing? He was doing some side work on my farm because he had a piece of equipment. And so he was having to do a little work on the side, some hustle money, some money to supplement some of the losses he may feel from his retirements. Are we going to see that more? Are we seeing the fact that a lot of people are not hiring anymore? You see a lot of jobs needing to be filled, but because of the price of the goods, because of the price of the service, because of the price, the businesses are now feeling like they need to stockpile cash versus put a lot out. They may not can hire as much. So we've seen hiring freezes. We went from needing to hire people to now seeing more hiring freezes because people don't know what to do with their money. They don't know if it's safe. Well, now we're seeing the older individuals in our population who should be the ones being able to retire and enjoy their family and grandkids. They're having to go back to work because their money is not making money for them. So all this is, we've been taught, invest your money, and when you get older, it will be there and it will allow you to have a good cushion as you go into retirement. We're starting to see that is a little bit more risky and volatile, especially over the next few years. Those CEOs that I just quoted, a lot of those said we will not see any benefit or any gradual rate of return, or the market's doing better for maybe another 12 to 24 months. They said that the recession should be short-lived, but we don't know. We do know there's correction, we do know there's volatility. And here's the crazy thing. The Fed is steadily raising interest. They're raising the interest rate. When we raise the interest rate, when the Fed raises the interest rate, it's supposed to help inflation go down. This month still was at over 8%. I think it was like 8.2 or something like that. They wanted to see it drop a little bit more than that. Now the question is, if we see that rate increase go up and we're already at a record low in buying homes and home refinancing because of the interest rates, so if we see that we're already at a record low with the real estate market, we see the stock markets are already taking a pretty good hit because of the rate hikes, then all of a sudden we're going to raise the rates a little bit more. Inflation's not getting helped. So where's the end? So what happens when we see retirement's not doing well, the markets are not doing well, the interest rate is still going up, the inflation is not going down, and we're still printing money? We have to get a wrangle on that. So now let's talk about, what do we do? How can we not suffer? So to me, we go back to the same things that we talked about. What runs the world? A lot of people say fiat money is fiat money. It doesn't run the world. A lot of people say gold and silver, it's precious metals, you're not going to carry it around. That's why we went to a dollar-based gold, or a fiat money, because gold and silver were just not easily, tangibly able to be sold or moved or swapped or bartered. Now, I'm not saying get away from fiat money. I'm not saying get away from gold and silver. I'm not saying get away from the stock market. But what I am saying is we have to look at other options. What runs the economy? Energy, food. If we are looking at energy and food is running our economy and can keep us alive, it's commodities, energy, and food. Well, we have taken our stockpile of fuel down from our strategic oil reserves. Then we see OPEC not pumping as much as they were. Do you see the problem there? There's going to be an oil issue, an energy issue, not only for Europe and not only for the people that's dealing with the wars over towards Russia and Ukraine, but now we're going to struggle with the price of oil because it's going to go up. The reason they're cutting supply is it makes the price of oil go up. So if we're already seeing problems with our inflation and already seeing prices go up on our goods, what happens when the fuel goes up? It makes everything else go up. So here's the funny thing, and this is what I want to kind of make sure you understand. This is how these slimy politicians get you. You have a $1.82 gas price. Then all of a sudden, because we plan all these initiatives and do all this green energy and we cut supply, our price goes up to $4 or $5 a gallon. And for instance, all of a sudden the gas starts going down to $3.50 per gallon. So now politicians are telling you should be excited that gas has went down. But remember, just a few years ago it was $1.82. So it's deceitful. It's down from what it was, but ultimately it's nowhere near where it needs to be. It's happened with fertilizers. Over the last 10 years, fertilizers have spiked. But here's the funny thing. Here's what the word is on the political and the media manipulation right now. Fertilizers have went down over the last 6 months. Well, they have, but they're still like 10 times higher than what they were 4 or 5 years ago. So you feel a little relief, but it's not enough relief to actually make a difference like it was just a few years ago. That's how they manipulate you. That's how these politicians are so sleazy. And we take it hook, line, and sinker, thinking that they're gonna fix the problem. We have to realize that the problem, a lot of times, is the ones trying to fix the problem. They become the problem. They can't be a solution and the problem. So now it goes back to, you have to fend for yourself. You have to take care of your family. So if we see energy being an issue and energy not able to be fixed, which would help this market tremendously if we started pumping oil again and started putting energy back on the market where we could take care of some of the issues going across, it would help. I honestly believe it would help the price of goods go down, which would help inflation, which would help maybe our markets grow. If we don't see our markets grow, we see inflation keep going up, we're not going to have any relief, especially for the ones who are now retiring. If our cost of goods goes up and we're not able to make the money we were making, be retirement or unemployment or just a stagnant operation of business where they can't just keep raising your salary, what's the next answer? One more startling thing. There was a study that came out that said 95% of all purchases with grocery stores have been through credit cards. It's been through buying it when you may not have the money to back it. So if we're buying everything we own because it's higher and because we may not have the money now, if we're buying everything on plastic, then our personal debt is going up, then we become more of a slave to the lender. We become more vulnerable. We always talk about this. Some of the things you have to do, you have to get out of debt. You have to start putting up food. I know people that have grown microgreen businesses and done farmers markets and grew them right there in their basement. They didn't need a 40 or 50 acre farm. They just needed ways to supplement and build a way to grow some food. It may be simply taking a side hustle job. I hate to see 60, 70, and 80-year-old people have to still go to work, not because they don't love it. I mean, if you love your job, I want you to keep it. But if it's one of those things where they feel like they gotta work because their savings have not been there. It's amazing what our own country is doing to some of the ones who need it the most. We've talked about Social Security. It's been robbed. It's not been taking care of people. You've paid in way more than you're getting back. And now the stock market is hurting your retirements. We've got to do better. And what that means is we have to hold people accountable. We have to find people who are going to be true leaders and not just politicians. Quit electing the same people to do the same thing. If we think that the same people who are getting elected are going to do something better and have a solution when they've been the problem for 40 or 50 years, then you become the problem. Let's go back to what I said at the very first. Millions will suffer because our economy is going to hurt certain individuals. If you're a multimillionaire, I imagine you're doing just fine. But for the ones who've worked their whole life, that now can't afford the groceries because of inflation or supply chain issues, or can't live off their retirements because the fall of the market, they trusted the status quo to invest when they're younger and it will be there when they get older. That's a problem. And that makes us more vulnerable in the US. As the IMF director said, America usually is the one that everybody looks to fix the problem. Well, we're so weak, we're absent from being the forefront. So it's time to elect good leaders to get back to where we're supposed to be the city on a hill, the shining light, to help with energy, to help with cheap energy, not only for us, but for other people, which would ultimately help the global economy. If you embrace the global economy, then you should embrace America being stronger, not weaker. We don't need to see millions suffer. We need to get back to where we were just a few years ago, where we had record low uninflation. It was less than 2%. We had record low unemployment, It was lower than it's ever been, and more people were making money on their retirements. Now, I don't care what your politics and your background is. When you talk about those three things, less cost, less people unemployed, and more money made on the stock market for your retirements, that's a win-win. So I'm telling you, be wise, look at what's happening, because we don't need millions suffering. We need to be a thriving economy again, and we can do it. We've destroyed it in the last few years, so now it's time to rebuild it. Don't look to bank, the Fed, or the government to do it, but I am saying look for true leaders to stand up and take control of your own personal finances by getting on a budget, being tighter, maybe do a side hustle for the time being, and work through it. We can do it. Now, I say this every time we end the video, but I'm being completely honest. This world makes us look at fear, makes us see reality being bad. It's a grim outlook. And I don't know if it's gonna get better, we don't know. At least for the next few months, you're seeing a lot of people say it's not. If you have hope in Jesus, of course, I believe it will make it better, and you will see there is a shining light. When we see that and we have a hope, then it helps us build it helps us be more motivated to do more even on this earth, to be better. So if I know that there is something better coming, then I'll work harder to get to it and gain more wisdom to get through it. Trials and the fear and the issues that sometimes our reality throws at us, there is a hope. So find hope in every day and know you can work through it, but it's going to take us doing different things, electing different people, seeing a better outcome by not doing the same old, same old. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this video. Our goal is to always be uplifting and always see there is a path to hope. There is a path to a better situation than what we're in, but it takes us gaining wisdom to understand how to get there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless. Happy Homestead.